Welcome to the Private Practice Startup Podcast, where we help ambitious private practitioners across the globe to brand themselves and grow their dream practices. We chat with successful private practitioners, business coaches, and marketing experts, bringing you tons of practice building ninja tips. Visit privatepracticestartup.com for awesome resources, attorney-approved private practice paperwork, and our signature marketing e-course. Here are your co-hosts, Dr. Kate Campbell and Katie Lemieux.
Hey there, Startup Nation. Welcome back to another episode of the Private Practice Startup Podcast. You know, if you are brand new to us, I just want to say welcome to our Startup Nation family. And if you are a loyal listener, I wanted to say welcome back. And I just wanted to share with you guys for a moment. It is really, truly an honor. Kate and I have been doing this for almost 5 years. In 2021, in June, we will be podcasting for 5 years. And we actually had the best month ever of downloads in January 2021, which means that you guys are really enjoying the content. And that is really our mission with this, is to provide free and valuable content for you guys to really grow and expand your private practices. So let us know all the time what it is that we can do to better serve you. So I just wanted to say thank you so much for being part of our Startup Nation family and, letting us, give to you. So that is really awesome. And today we are going to be talking about one of our alumni success stories. We always love this because we get to take a moment back in time. We get to hear from them in a different way, their story, their journey, what they're up to now. And it really often is a source of inspiration. We hope that you guys joined us last week as we talked to Shelby Sanderford from Doc Pace. So this was an interesting conversation. Shelby is in the world of the medical field, but we really talked about how technology can really help customer client satisfaction as well as employee satisfaction. So we really dive into systems there, which Kate and I love to talk about. So that was a really interesting episode, and hopefully you'll take away a few nuggets from that to really improve your own processes for your client satisfaction. Today, our guest is Jordan Zipkin. Jordan's a licensed marriage and family therapist. He was born and raised in Long Island, New York. He lived in Los Angeles for 10 years before moving to South Florida about 2 years ago, and was previously an assistant and a mental health director at Phoenix House, a group home for adolescent boys and girls dealing with substance abuse and mental health difficulties. And he is a movie fanatic. Welcome, Jordan.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, we are excited to have you. So I got to ask, what are your top 3 favorite movies?
Ooh, great question. Mulholland Drive is my all-time favorite movie. So it's psychologically, it's always interesting. Every time I watch it, I find something new, something fascinating. It's this big mystery, big puzzle box, and it captivates me from beginning to end every time. Seen it far too many times. So that's my number 1. Number 2 and 3, Moonlight, Boyhood, those are in the mix somewhere in there. You might have The Third Man, an older movie, a terrific movie, somewhere looks something like that.
I don't think I've seen any of those movies. I'll have to check them out. Thanks for the recommendations.
Always.
My favorite movie of all time is actually Primal Fear, Richard Gere and Edward Norton, Edward Norton is one of my most favorite actors. I just love his quality of his work, what he does. I don't know if did you guys see that one?
That's a fun one. Oh, that is a lot of fun. That's a great choice.
Super psychological thriller and a whole twist at the end. So
yeah, yes.
But we're not here talking about movies today. We're here talking about success in private practice and your journey. So it's interesting. We're going to definitely ask you about your story. How did you get into the mental health field? And then part of that story is you and Kate connecting as you moved here. So let's just kind of take a step back in time. And I don't even know, is there a story when you were younger, you always wanted to be a therapist? Some people say yes, some people no. So take us back in time, Jordan.
Yeah, it's certainly an interesting story, some winding roads there. I knew from an early age, I loved listening. I loved helping people. I've always been very analytical, and it made sense from an early age to consider therapy because of those reasons. I knew I wanted to have my own business, have my own practice. And so for that reason, it also fit. But I went back and forth from that to film, there to film and back and forth. And ultimately, I landed on therapy, for a couple of reasons. One, I realized, quite frankly, I wasn't all that good at making movies. Didn't really feel like living on the streets of LA for 10 years or 15 years. Therapy felt a little bit more secure to me. And the bigger reason is about the age of, I want to say 21, 22, I realized my own internal struggles came to the surface. I grew up difficult background, and it didn't all hit me until around that age. And I sought my own intensive therapy, completely transformed my life. And that was when I knew this is what I need to do. This is my calling. I need to take what I've learned that has helped me and help others, because I knew what pain felt like, and I knew what the other side of it looked like. And it just made so much sense for all those reasons.
Awesome. So it's interesting. Then you also share where that love of film comes from. And I assume then that's why you lived in LA for quite some time too.
Big reason. My sister, who's also basically a mother figure to me, moved to LA far before I did. So I've been visiting her throughout the years and fell in love, love her, love the place. And yes, you're right. The film was such a big part of my life. And so that's where it all kind of began. And ultimately, I just realized that this is far more for me. But I still watch movies and I still write movie reviews. So it's a nice little side passion.
Nice. Tell us a little bit about your private practice journey of when you first got into private practice, what that was like. And that was on the West Coast for you in California. And then you hopped over and came to the East Side. So tell us a little bit about that.
Definitely quite a hop. I have had quite a journey. There have been, when I first started private practice, when I became licensed, which was 4 or 5 years ago, something along those lines, there was so much to learn. I had nothing to prepare me for how much learning there is. And it really reminded me of my favorite movie, because it's such a big puzzle. You have to learn all the different pieces and put it together. And I learned that it takes time and it takes patience. So, starting out as a therapist, working at Phoenix House, becoming an assistant mental health director, working in various treatment centers, all of these experiences were terrific and interesting in their own ways. And then diving into private practice, which was just, a lot of obstacles. And I had to continually remind myself I'm doing what I need to do to overcome them, to put the pieces together. So I kept finding the best books, the best coaches, the best resources to try to chip away at this big project, which is starting and creating and maintaining a thriving private practice. So it took some time. It took moving across the country. It took finding you, taking the course, but ultimately it all did come together in a really satisfying way.
Nice. Let's take a quick moment for our sponsor.
Okay, guys, it's sponsor time. You know what? Instead of reading a script about Gusto's payroll and benefits, we wanted to tell you what small business owners say, the people who use Gusto every day. Here's what one small business owner says. With Gusto, I think of payroll as a 30-second job. The website is so friendly and a joy to use. Friendly payroll? You don't hear that every day. And how about Amy from Utah? Amy says, I love Gusto so much. It's so painless. It's like going to the spa, and we have great options and rates, even though we're a super small team. Like going to the spa? Wow. And here's what Mneet says about Gusto's support team. Whenever something comes up, I reach out and literally 24 hours later, they tell us what to do or assure us that we've already handled it. Smart technology and friendly humans, that's super cool. Honestly, the list goes on, and right now our listeners get 3 months free when they go to gusto.com/PPS. Yep, 3 months of payroll, benefits, administration, and more, totally free. Again, that's gusto.com/PPS.
As a therapist, you're probably too preoccupied with your caseload to want to think about bookkeeping or tax filing. Herd Bookkeeping and Tax is a platform built specifically for therapists that helps you track and improve your practice's financial health. Regardless of whether you're a seasoned clinician or you're in the first year of your practice, Herd will help you to identify areas for growth and streamline best financial practices for your business. When you sign up with Herd, you work directly with financial specialists to track your income and expenses, file taxes online, and grow your business. You'll also receive financial insights such as profit and loss statements and personalized monthly reports, so you can say goodbye to poring over spreadsheets and guessing your tax deductions or quarterly payments. Focus on your clients and Herd will take care of the rest. You can even ask Dr. Jennifer Kashani, a licensed clinical psychologist based in LA. She says, Herd has simplified and streamlined bookkeeping and best business practices in a digestible and accessible way. Having the foundation of Herd for my business had made myself and in turn, my patients feel more solid. Plans begin at just $60 a month and can easily be tailored to fit your business financial needs. You can schedule your first consultation at joinherd.com. That's joinherd, HEARD.com.
Jordan, you had mentioned you always knew that you wanted to be in business and you were like going back between therapist and movie producer, creator, and then you landed in therapy from your own personal journey. Did you always knew you wanted to be in private practice? Was that the goal when you got into the mental health field, or did you,
Yes, no question. I knew I wanted to have my own business. I had certainly this idea of creating my own schedule, being my own boss, and ultimately, potentially having a group of therapists with whom work with me, who I can mentor, I can teach. That's also a passion of mine. I love mentoring others. But I knew at the very least I wanted to have my own practice where I can create my own brand, my own thing, and bring in the kind of clients that I wanted to see.
So share with us a little bit about your own struggles early on in regards to creating a private practice. And this time you were in California at this time, right?
Sure. Yes. I started in California, 10 years of my life. And so, the biggest struggles I would say really just were all rooted in myself. Lots of doubt, a lot of insecurities. Am I doing this right? What may, because basically I kept finding that I'm following the formula. I would reach out to a coach and they'd give feedback on make your Psychology Today profile look like this, make a website look like this. This is how you'll get clients. And I just found that, it'd work in bits and pieces, but it really wasn't clicking. So I got in my own way, a lot of doubt, a lot of frustration, and a lot of insecurities. And so that I would say I was my biggest obstacle along that journey. Now looking back, I could say it just takes time. It takes finding the right people, the right resources, and having some good self-care and patience to be able to navigate through that, what can be a lengthy process.
I'm laughing over here for sure, right? And it feels even longer when you're in it and not on the other side yet.
Yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, it's interesting. So you mentioned about finding coaches and reaching out to people and creating a Psychology Today profile and website. And those are all things that we talk about. What about that wasn't working?
It's a great question. One that I can't fully answer. I'll do the best I can to answer it. I can't quite explain what made it so I would follow a lot of the right steps from Laura Long and, both of you just really following the formula and not necessarily getting all the clients, all the amount of calls I would have hoped for from following the steps and then enacting those steps. So I can't necessarily explain some of it, but what I can say is this. When I realized, okay, some of these things for whatever reason aren't working as well as I'd like, if I do other things and those are working, it doesn't matter that some of these other things aren't working as I would have expected. So, learning, okay, there's Psychology Today, there's the website, there's Google Ads, there's connecting to people in the community, there's getting, as many great reviews as you can to make yourself look valuable to the community at large. There's feeling confident in yourself and knowing what you're going to say when people call you, putting all the pieces together. And I would say realizing that when you have enough of them right, it starts to work. It doesn't matter so much when some of them don't work for you, right? It's just do enough of the right things and it's going to work.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Interesting. So tell us a little bit about how did you come to Florida and how did you find cake?
So that is the coolest story. California, for whatever reason, they decided to make it increasingly impossible to afford living there. So my wife and I realized we probably want a house at some point in our lives, and I don't know that it's going to happen here. So tough decision because so many friends, my sister, Love the culture over there, so that was a tough one. But ultimately, we want to be able to much more easily afford a house and lifestyle. And so that's what led us to make that move, as tough as it was. Now, the really interesting thing is we drove out from California to South Florida with our golden retrievers in the car. Everyone's all piled in. And along the way, as I'm trying to entertain myself, there were moments where I would drive, Becky would sleep, I'd put on a podcast or I'd listen to music, on low. And one of the things I happened to stumble upon was the private practice startup. I had no idea what it was. It sounded perfect. How could I not want to learn about the private practice startup when this is my mission in life, to create a thriving practice? And so I happened to stumble upon it and I loved it. And then I moved out here, and sure enough, I met Katie, and we met you both, and it was like fate. It was the funniest thing.
That's so cool. I don't know that I've ever heard that specific aspect of the story about how you were literally driving cross country and you came across the podcast, and that's kind of how we connected initially.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to acknowledge you, Jordan. Then you took bold action and you reached out. You have been part of Kate's group practice. You've done our coaching and things like that. So that's really awesome and amazing. So before we continue your story, let's just take another moment for our sponsor.
Is managing your practice stressing you out? Try Therapy Notes. It makes billing, notes, scheduling, and telehealth a whole lot easier. Check it out, and you will quickly see why it's rated the highest EHR on Trustpilot with over 1,000 verified customer reviews and an average customer rating of 4.9 or 5 stars. You'll notice the difference from the first day you sign up for the trial. They offer live phone support 7 days a week. So when you have questions, you can quickly reach someone who can help. You are never wasting time looking for answers. If you're coming from another EHR, they make the transition really easy. Therapy Notes will import your client's demographic data free of charge during your trial so you can get going right away. Use the promo code PPS to get your first 2 months for free, or try out Therapy Notes for free, no strings attached, including their very reliable telehealth platform. Make 2021 the best year yet with Therapy Notes.
So here you are driving across country, how long did that take you?
It was 3 days. We didn't stop too long. It was pretty fast.
3 days in a car, I don't know if that's fast.
Well, it was probably as fast as it could be, given the 2,500 miles, right? We didn't get much time in each specific place, but yeah, it was exhausting, exciting, interesting, all in the same token.
Gotcha. So you arrived finally, and then what actions did you take, and what was next for you?
Well, I'm kind of like a pit bull. When I find something I want to do, I sink my teeth into it. I don't stop fighting till I make it work. And so when I moved here, I joined Facebook groups, therapist Facebook groups. I started connecting with various therapists in the community. One who happened to move from California to here, so we instantly connected. And just in doing that, I found someone who said, "Hey, if you're looking for the right person to learn from, Kate, the person, private practice startup, baby therapy." And so that's how it really all started. Reached out, and the rest is kind of history. That it proved to be the mentorship that I needed to really take everything I was doing to far and away the next level.
So Jordan has been a part of our team at Bayview Therapy in our Fort Lauderdale office. I'd say, Jordan, about 2 years now, has it been?
Yeah, it's been about 2 years.
2 years now, yes. And that's been an amazing addition to the team to have Jordan as a part of our team. And Jordan, tell us a little bit about the next steps for you in the journey. You joined the group practice. You also joined the private practice marketing e-course and coaching program with Katie and myself, and you really dove in head first.
Yeah, I really dove in. I really was determined to figure this thing out because while I had clients, it wasn't nearly the kind of practice that I wanted. I think I had, something like 4 to 5 clients that I brought with me from LA, and I wanted to really get to the 20, 25 a week range mark. So when I joined the program, focused, intent to learn everything I could as quickly as possible. And really, a lot of the big takeaways that I got from the course and really have transformed my practice were along the lines of, finding out your specialties, finding out who you are as a therapist, who you're here to serve, where your biggest passions lie. And clients are going to feel that. They're going to know where you light up, where you're most excited. And they're going to want to see you when it's clear that you love helping them with their particular difficulties and you know how to do it, right? So that was a big one. I learned to make the great website and so many details of what that means, how to create a great Google My Business, and so many of the details about what that means, how to display social proof, meaning, how to make yourself look remarkable, show that you have value to the world. If you have 20 great reviews versus 3, you're going to make yourself look great in one way versus the other way, not so much. So all having great photos, all these things, learned through the course to really take it to the next level. And it was almost immediately that I saw a difference in the amount of calls I was getting and the amount of clients I was holding on to.
Wow. And, it's interesting. Like, I don't know, maybe I'm like reading in the back as we do as therapists, right? Like, I don't know, was there this static for you? Because, we talk a lot about business, right? There's the strategy. And yes, even though we're doing a lot of quote unquote strategy, fixing the website, doing the this, doing the that, a lot of business is mindset. And so talk about a little bit about your journey in regards to your own transformation, kind of not feeling as confident, not as clear, and beginning to kind of almost like synchronize the strategy and your confidence as well.
Yeah, I think a lot of it was just, so I track everything. I write everything down. I have a little notepad in my phone where I write, on this day, I got this call, and, I don't get into details, but just this is the call I got, and whether it's someone who converted. And so keeping track of that, I was able to see where things made a notable difference. And so it was clear that once I drastically improved my ability to connect with clients over the phone, feel confident in myself that I had considerable value and be able to help them achieve their goals, and doing it as quickly as we possibly can, promoting myself in an improved way, just having, a really, the most attractive website I possibly could, a great Google My Business page, great photos, writing blogs at least once a week, just getting myself out there in the most important way, just demonstrating my value and feeling like I had value. And also, another thing was realizing, being open to different ideas. So, Kate had suggested, we're getting a lot of calls from people, from couples looking for couples therapy. You might want to consider learning Gottman therapy. And that was a big change. That was one of the big changes for me. When I opened that doorway, when I got trained in Gottman, I realized, wow, I actually love this. This is really concrete stuff. You give clients things to do each week. You help them learn skills and practice it in session, out of session. So you could see the value. They saw the value instantly. I saw the value instantly. And it drastically increased the calls I'd get, the amount of clients that would stick around. And so I would say, just when I realized to just be more flexible, a little bit more open to more opportunities, it makes it made it easier for me to find my way as far as what my specialties really are. And therefore, it translates into more calls and more clients.
Interesting. I like that stuff. And I remember in our course, I think it was you and Ruth Harbin very early on started using the call script, and like literally in a week or two, like it really helped you. What was it about that that helped you, convert more potential clients into actual clients?
Yeah, the call script, I remember that moment. The call script is such a big piece. And what I would say the reason is because it gives you structure. It gives you a concrete opportunity to help the client feel really heard, really understood, just what we do as therapists in the room, but really in a really concrete way over the phone. And then to help them see, I'm the person who can get you to where you want to get to, right? And if a person feels like that, if they feel heard, they feel understood, and they feel like, you can really get them where they want to get to, they're often going to want to sign up, So that's a lot of what the call script does. And it absolutely works in that way. I would say I went from about a 30% conversion rate prior to the phone script to something like a 70% conversion rate when I first learned the phone script. And now I'm at probably about a 95% conversion rate. Just more
That's
confident.
Amazing.
Yeah, that is, out of all things I do in the business realm, that would be, I would say, my biggest area of success.
I'm kind of sitting back a little bit and just, listening to you share your journey. And it's so interesting because I've been able to witness your growth in so many different capacities and so many different ways. And being able to work with you through the private practice startup and then also through Bayview Therapy, the group practice, has been such an amazing journey. And you have grown in so many different ways. And even to see your passion evolve, and with the desire to work with couples and then getting specialized training and supervision. And I mean, you've just done an amazing job with the couples that you see, and it's ignited this whole new passion that you didn't even know existed. So it's just really cool to see your confidence grow, to see your passions and your specializations continue to evolve. And you really do an amazing job at converting potential clients into actual clients. And then also with your retention rates as well, Jordan. You are an excellent clinician.
Wow. I can't, words cannot express how much that means to me. I mean, I look up to you and you both tremendously. So to hear that from you is the biggest compliment I think I could ever hear. So it's overwhelmingly awesome to hear that.
Live on the podcast for everybody else to hear too.
Right.
Kate, I'm actually glad that you shared that, because I was going to actually ask you to share like what you have seen, how Jordan's progressed and things like that. I would like for you guys to actually talk about your first conversation, your first meeting. I know there's a story that stands out for me when Kate was, talking to you about the e-course and really diving in. And she talks about, I think the Blue Angels flew over, but I'd love for you guys to share a little bit about either your first call and or, when you were making that decision to really, advance your practice and commit to working on your business in any way.
Yeah. I remember the Blue Angels call. I remember Kate encouraging me, just helping me to stay the course. And I needed that. I needed someone, like I said, I was my biggest obstacle for some time. And so I needed someone like Kate to say, this is really, I believe in you, and I know this is value, and this is going to help you. And she was right, no question. And I remember when I first called her, I was in some sort of parking lot, just kind of running errands. And I get this call from Kate, and I'm a little intimidated, a little scary. I'm like, okay, stay cool. We're both therapists. I got this. And and it was easy to do that. She made it easy because she's very calming. She's there's a very comforting presence about Kate, and at the same time, a very confident presence. And so it was very easy for me to just be myself and feel comfortable. And it was clear that this is going to be the biggest opportunity I've ever had. And it turned out to be right.
Kate, what do you remember about?
Yeah, I remember when Jordan first reached out, and I remember looking at your website before you and I spoke on the phone, because we have kind of like this whole interview script process and a lot of pre-assessing, pre-qualifying potential therapists that reach out that want to join the team, because I get a lot of people who want to join the team, and we're very selective. So I was doing a little bit of research and looking into Jordan and his website, and I was like, okay, great. He's got a website up. I can tell he's made some effort with his practice. And then we connected on the phone and had a great conversation. And I remember him saying, I've been doing research and I really want to work with the best. And I hear that your group practice is the best. And I want a mentor, and I want to learn. I'm like a sponge ready to soak it all up. And his level of motivation reminded me a lot of myself. And we had a great conversation and, went on with a full interview, and he decided to join the team, and it's been a great fit. And then I remember, Katie, thanks for bringing up the Blue Angels, because I had forgotten about that. It was so interesting because I was talking with Jordan and encouraging him to take the leap, to invest in himself and his business, knowing the value that the e-course and coaching program brings and how that would help him to really take his practice to the next level, because it is a step-by-step proven system. And we walk you through the whole foundation. And I'm like, this is what you need, Jordan. And I remember when he took the leap and joined, I was like sending him a voicemail, or I think I called him and he was at a Starbucks or something like that. And all of a sudden I was saying, I'm so excited you're joining. And then the Blue Angels, literally planes, the fighter jets flew right over our office because it was in the middle of the Air and Sea Show week here in South Florida. And so that's something that's very common. It happens every year. And it was just like this congratulatory, celebratory moment, and it heightened it times like a billion. So it was so cool to have that experience to celebrate with the Blue Angels. That was neat.
Definitely neat. It was really powerful. It felt, it really felt meant to be. It was a very powerful experience, and absolutely it was. There's no question that I needed that kind of clear mentorship consistently, with all the different pieces, the website, the social proof, all of it, for me to take it from level C to level A.
Tell us where your practice is now. Give us a snapshot of, on average, how many clients you see, and just kind of that snapshot view.
So I see anywhere from 20 to 25 clients a week, and that has been the case consistently since June. So for, what is that, 7, I can't do math quickly, 7 months, something like that. It's been a good, solid run of a significant period of time of seeing the amount of clients that I want to see. And even before that, I want to say from January to March, I was consistently between 13 and 18 clients a week. So it's pretty good then. And then it just shot up from June onward.
Mm-hmm. And Jordan, I think the other important piece is, a lot Kate and I talk about, and this is actually the very first module of the e-course, is we talk obviously about mindset, but we talk about dream life. Like when you are creating your private practice, your dream private practice, we talk about your dream life going hand in hand. So having your practice the way that it is in your dream practice, what has that allowed you to do? And if you were to go back in time and think about, I want to be a business owner in your young, whatever teens, how comparable is that vision?
That's such a great question. So I knew for the longest time that I wanted to work something like 3 days back to back so that I can have 4 days in a row to relax, potentially go on vacation. Having that uninterrupted time make it easier to have, time away to just relax. And certainly in our field, we need that self-care time. So I knew that I wanted it to look something like that. And that's roughly what it's been turned into. So it pretty much looks like that. So I wouldn't change it necessarily. I'm happy with how that piece looks. And what I would say, if I could kind of go back in time, is I would really try to remind myself, which is part of what we'll be going into, the part that I'm trying to share with others in the community, to just seek out the right kinds of help. To know that if you're following the right kinds of support, reading the right kinds of books, listening to the right kinds of podcasts, it will come together. Do the things that allow you to be patient, allow you to calm yourself down, and really learn where you have value and learn where you have the most value and can really change people's lives. So those would be the things that I would, if I can kind of go back in time and talk to myself, I would say that to myself. But in lieu of that, I get to be on here and help people maybe who are 5 years earlier than I am in this journey to learn some of these things so they don't have to go through some of those struggles.
Nice. And what's next for you, Jordan?
I definitely, what is next is being able to become a supervisor. I want to be able to basically build off of what we're doing here, just really be able to help clinicians early on in their journey to put themselves in the most successful position as quickly as possible. So that's going to be a big one. And to keep this private practice going in the same way it's going, 20 to 25 clients a week. It's a nice sweet spot. Anything more, probably lose my mind. So it's a nice number where I maintain my self-care and I help a good number of people. So I'm going to keep learning. I'm going to keep reading. I'm going to keep listening to the podcast, keep reaching out for help, learning. I believe we should never stop learning. Even though I've reached a place where I'm quite happy, I'm at a good number, I have been for some time, there's always growth. There's always lessons. There's always opportunities. So becoming a supervisor, likely going to become EMDR, train in brain spotting, any other opportunities Kate or you have for me, I'm going to immediately jump on because your intuition is always spot on. But that's kind of I would say those are the next steps for me.
Nice. And I love how you talk a lot about the importance of self-care. What's one of your favorite ways to take care of you?
So you all know I love movies, so that's clear. We can kind of put that aside. I watch probably a movie a day on average. So there's that. But the other one, I love reading. I am really interested in anything psychological, a lot of social psychology. I love Malcolm Gladwell, just understanding the way in which we work, what makes us work this way, just broader social psychological concepts. So that's where you'll either find me watching a movie with my wife. You've captured the idea that you'll often find me at Starbucks, or I'm reading. So those are some big ones that I'll do.
So what's your favorite Malcolm Gladwell book?
Probably, think about this for a second. This is a tricky one because he has so many good ones. I might have to go with his most famous. Think about this for just a second. This is very tough. What the Dog Saw is tremendous, but yeah, I think I would have to go with The Tipping Point as my top.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
The dog. I haven't heard of What the Dog Saw is tremendous. I've heard of The Tipping Point and read Blink.
They are all Blink. Yeah, Blink is terrific. They're all top notch. He really finds a way to create really vivid stories about complex concepts, making them easy for people to understand, and so interesting.
Nice. So you describe Mike Michalowicz for me, and his books on business are just amazing. And there's like Kate, maybe you remember the name. There's like this. It's like not a simile, not a metaphor. He talks about like systems and nature as related to business. He's very interesting.
I don't know what the
very
term
intelligent.
is.
I don't know either. But anyway, Jordan, so what advice would you like to impart to Startup Nation in regards to their own process and progress in building their dream practice?
Well, I have that free giveaway that I'll be sharing with the audience, but it really, a lot of it boils down to the 5 biggest things that I believe fostered my success. And so I would love people to be able to kind of look at that and take those big concepts away because they've really helped me, and I know that they can help so many others. So just tracking everything you're doing as often as you can, because if you don't track it, you won't know what's working, what's not working, what needs to work better. So that's such a big one. You can see you're getting these amount of calls, and that's when I ran Google ads related to helping couples with infidelity. So you start to build a picture of what's working and why. So that's such a big one. Being open, more open and flexible and receptive to growth and feedback. Here's something that you could become trained in. Here's an area in which you could become specialized in. And be really open to those opportunities because there's so much evolution that comes in being a therapist as far as what you do, who you're here to serve. And you really need to be open to where that evolution goes to figure out who you're on this earth to help and where you're most passionate about. Being patient, self-care, talked a lot about that. Such a big one because quite frankly, this journey could be long. It could take several months. It could take a year. It could take a little bit longer. And just knowing that as long as you're doing the right things, the puzzle does come together. And then demonstrating your value, such a big one. So making sure you have a solid number of views. I would say at least something like 20 on your Google My Business page. So when someone looks you up, because that's where clients are going to find you, they're going to look you up. They want to be able to see, is this person remarkable? Does this person have value? And so one of the ways they do that is seeing, 20 great reviews, that's something. And having a website that looks great, that's easy to go through, easy to understand, a great Google My Business page, friendly pictures of yourself, looking as natural as possible, as helpful as possible. And then, this one might seem a little bit obvious, but really this is a big one for me. And I think it's a big one for other people, realizing that these people who aren't using their insurance, right? They're spending serious money to get help. They deserve the best, value possible, right? So what I do and what I encourage everyone to do is remind yourself of that before session. I always now remind myself before session, give myself a little pep talk to get in the best zone, to be as focused as possible, because these people deserve every bit of me for the money they're spending. So that's what I do, and I encourage everyone to do. So these are some of the big concepts that I found help me, and I know can help others.
Thank you, Jordan. We'll definitely add that to the show notes page if people are interested in grabbing that. And some of the other stuff that you had mentioned today, your two favorite books from Malcolm Gladwell, we'll put that on the resources page as well. What the Dog Saw Was Tremendous, The Tipping Point. I know we talked about the client converting call script. We'll add a link to that. And our marketing e-course and coaching program, we'll add a link to that as well. And I would like to just give Kate a shout out because she has now opened a second location in Coral Springs, Florida. So she has one in Fort Lauderdale and Coral Springs. If you are a local therapist interested in joining a stellar and awesome team, definitely reach out to Kate and we'll put that information there as well.
Thanks for the shout out. Jordan, it was so fun to have you on today's episode. And every time I hear your story, I get to hear different aspects of it. And it is so inspiring. And it's just so cool to see you really thriving and loving what you do and helping so many people. So thank you for all that you do.
Thank you so much for allowing me this opportunity to both be on the show and to have fostered a lot of my growth. I really greatly appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, we hope you, Startup Nation, enjoyed this episode and hearing Jordan's success story of where he is now and how he got there. We love being able to hear your feedback about the show, hearing what episodes you all love, what content you want to have us create, because we really try to create episodes that are going to be directly meeting your needs along the private practice journey. So with that said, I just want to take a moment to give our Startup Nation superhero shout out. And this comes from Cindy Norton. Cindy says, Kate and Katie are truly wonderful. They are kind and supportive. They provide helpful resources for therapists, and their podcast always has the best topics to help private practice owners. Thank you, Kate and Katie, for your incredible contributions to the field. Thank you so much, Cindy. We appreciate your feedback about the podcast, and we hope everyone is enjoying. And we encourage you to subscribe, rate, and review the show. You can do that on our show notes page. There's a link to do so at the top. And we will see you on the next episode. In the meantime, stay inspired.
Take care, everybody.
Thanks for joining us on The Private Practice Startup. Visit theprivatepracticestartup.com for awesome resources, free trainings, attorney-approved private practice paperwork, and so much more.